and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I am the Guyver!
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss Guyver, which came out in 1991. Directed by Screaming Mad George and Steve Wang. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, the story follows Sean Barker, played by Jack Armstrong. Sean has happened to come across a alien bio-booster suit of armor, which, when he puts it on, makes him the host for the Guyver. But there's an evil corporation who wants the suit back for world domination.
So, the Guyver movie is an actual adaptation of a Japanese manga called Bio Booster Armor Guyver, which started in 1985, and it had a couple of animated series.
Yeah.
The last was 26 episodes that ended in 2006.
Wow.
I'm not that familiar with the Guyver manga, but the film does borrow pretty heavily from its source material and just changes things here and there.
Yeah.
But the concept is essentially the same.
Yeah.
This is also a film that I discovered back when, in the early 90s, soon after the film was released on VHS tape, and absolutely loved it. 12, 13-year-old me.
Yeah.
I was into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
Didn't really like Power Rangers, and then saw this as like, I don't know, I kind of put this on a level above, because I was like, this feels like it's more adult. It's got blood, and it's got more, I guess, more frightening monsters. Now the film is, it's 30 years old.
Yeah, sure.
It has aged poorly. But that's not to say that there's still fun to be had with watching this film.
Well, I was going to say aged poorly. I mean, I watch a lot of Power Rangers for fun. I mean, once Netflix went, here's the whole Power Ranger series, I was like, yeah, I'll watch that shit, And like you said, when you're a kid, you like, when we were growing up, we had a combination of kids' cartoons and adult movies. One moment we're watching He-Man and Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Next minute we're watching RoboCop, Terminator, and Total Recall. So then all of a sudden somebody comes along to us and goes, hey, guess what the Japanese are doing? They're basically making cartoons, but with adult themes. You've got all of your best ones. You've got your Fist of the North Star, your Akira, your Ghost in the Shell, Dragon Ball Z. The list goes on and on and on and on. And I did see the Guyver, but I saw the animated, I remember seeing the animated cover in the video shop and thinking, oh man, that looks cool. This weird helmeted cyclopean kind of helmet just staring at me, and knowing that, I was watching cartoons at this time, late night Channel 4, some of these anime could be massively over the top. So I'm like, that's definitely, if it's Japanese anime, it's going to be over the top. But I never got the chance to watch it, and there were just so many more animated movies coming out from Japan, which had body horror. I think it was Neo Genesis Evangelion, which is another one where, they get a suit of armor and it modifies them into some super fast kind of fucking alien suit thing. And I always wanted to watch it, but then detoured along the way and just watched other stuff. And then it came up on the list. And I was like, oh yes, finally get to sit down and watch it and understand finally where this man is coming from. And oh my God.
Well, the film kind of sets its tone right at the beginning with that scrolling text, the ominous narrator, and then we end up with the cartoony kind of theme music for the film.
Yeah.
And we watch this doctor. We can tell he's a doctor because he's in a white lab coat.
Oh yeah. It always gives it away.
Running around with a briefcase, and we can see some kind of generic thugs chasing him.
Yeah.
They're running after him like they've shit themselves. But we watch him take a tumble and he slides all the way down, and they manage to catch up with him. And then Michael Berryman steps out, and of course, one of the most recognizable faces in the horror genre.
Yeah. That guy is a chicken fucker. Devil's Rejects, Hills Have Eyes. I mean, he has this look, which makes him look scary. And when like Hills Have Eyes, like first time I saw him, I'm like, man, that guy's terrifying. But then when I heard his voice and the way he is, I'm like, oh, he's not scary. You know, he looks scary, but he's not. And then this movie kind of amplified that more for me, where I'm like, man, this guy's a really nice actor. What the fuck is he doing in this shit?
Yeah, it's me.
He's having fun.
He is having fun. I mean, we follow Dr. Tetsu Sagawa, and he's got the bio booster armor. You know, he's stolen it and he hides it. And then when he's confronted by the goons, he mutates into
a fish man.
Yeah, or what we would know as a zoonoid. Like Gary said, that title scroll at the beginning basically gave you the breakdown of the whole entire fucking Guyver storyline in about 5 seconds.
It is a little bit ridiculous.
Massively. The
Aliens came to the planet Earth when there were no humans. So the zoonoids created humans. But then they made some of the humans zoonoids, which is that they can mutate and turn into fishmen or gremlins or whatever else.
Furry ginger werewolves.
Whatever other genetics it kind of is birthed on the planet. They kind of mix and match so that they can make variations of them. And then they waited hundreds of thousands of years until humans build up a society so that the zoonoids could build a corporation called the Kronos.
Yeah,
and then take over the world.
Take over the world. and this suit of armor is kind of key to it. You know, unlike the actual anime where there were multiple suits, in the movie there's just one. And they need this one suit to help them dominate the world. Even though that they can mutate into strange monsters that seem to have strength and, you know, are bulletproof and pretty much can just fuck shit up. You know, but they're hiding. You know, they have to stay secret. Anyway, Sagawa and Michael Berryman, they mutate and they have... I wouldn't even say it's a fight, really. I mean, Lisker just beats him up.
Well, it's the fact that when they mutate, they all just stand there, like, in that fighting pose.
Oh, yeah, it's the traditional Mortal Kombat kind of Power Rangers. We can't really do much, but let's just look scary.
Right.
Kind of way. And he takes the briefcase. Lisker takes the briefcase from Sagawa, and he's so happy that he has to return it to his boss. This massive, huge evil corporation. The evil boss, Fulton Bacchus. Played by David Gale from the Reanimator movie. Man, that guy just looks weird. I mean, I thought Michael Berryman looked weird, but Fulton just looks... You know?
Fulton is, he is the quite essential villain.
Yes.
He plays it fantastically well. But it's also like, he goes over the top with it.
Yes.
Now, it's something that the actor has always said, that he's always weary of going over the top.
Yeah.
And he always said he was worried that he was going too over the top. But in this one, he kind of went past and through and out the top.
Yeah, man. I kept thinking...
That's what made it so fun to watch. Like, you just cannot take his performance seriously. You can't take anybody's performance in this seriously.
No. But the thing was, you know what it kept taking me back to? It kept reminding me of the boss from Beyond. You know, the doctor who's been fucked off and then he comes back, and how over the top that guy is.
Yes.
You know, there's a very much alien presence within David Gale. And it's very, he gets so annoyed with Lisker, where Lisker hands him the briefcase. And I'm like, you didn't think to check? You fucking wasted all that time down there to fucking hang around with your buddies that you didn't think to check the main objective before taking it to your, psychically powered evil boss who could kill you with his mind? Because when Fulton opens the briefcase, he realizes the suit's not in there, and then he gets annoyed.
And so he makes him slap himself and then pull at his face.
Oh, Michael Berryman really works it. The fact that he's like, his hands like hitting him and pulling his own face. I'm like, ah.
And then meanwhile, Fulton's fucking headpiece, inner central piece, is just exploding out of his forehead.
Yeah, like I said, from Beyond. I was like, oh, yeah. But we get also introduced to Mark Hamill, playing Max Reed, who... Now, stay with me on this because you may, clips might come up that really confuse you, but he's a CIA agent. He's a CIA agent who was given information by Dr. Sarada about the suit of armor. You know, and he's investigating. Max Reed is investigating the Kronos Corporation and believes that they're super evil, but he just needs evidence for it. And he was supposed to meet the good doctor, and the doctor was supposed to give him the suit of armor. So Mark Hamill sees what's going on down there, but can't see the aliens, you know, and just goes, well, okay, we'll just go down and investigate. And we watch the body kind of melt, and he has to go and inform the doctor's daughter, Mizuki, played by Vivian Wu. She's fucking terrible. I'm just dropping it right now. She's fucking terrible in this whole movie.
Yeah.
Every sequence, she's useless. No disrespect to the actress. I'm really sure that the actress was, you know, trying with the script material that she had, but she's not even a damsel in distress. She's just terrible. You know, and Max Reed is like, I'm really sorry about your dad. Do you know what he was into? And she's like, oh no, you know, he worked for this corporation. I'm like, there's no backstory here. There's no relationship. She's got crocodile tears, upset that her dad's dead. Not even questioning, like, why he's melted. You know, and it's like Max Reed even says to her, like, do you know anybody who might want to kill your father? I'm like, I don't know, maybe his fucking boss.
Meanwhile, we also get introduced to Sean. He's right now having Aikido training lessons.
Yeah.
And he gets floored once, then he gets floored again, and then when he's looking over to see what's going on with Mizuki, he gets called up and he gets floored again.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I like the fact that he goes, like, he's staring at Max and Mizuki, like, talking, you know, and that's what distracts him. And so then he goes and sits on a bench, like, outside the office. So they're having like a whole conversation in the room that you can't hear, and then he's having a conversation with his instructor, and it's really off-putting.
Right.
But the thing majorly with this movie that you really got to kind of get behind. Now, I know it might come across like I'm tearing this movie apart, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's Screaming Mad George. And, like, I learned so much about him just researching this movie. Like, we always talk about him, all the special effects that he's done, and he's done a fucking fabulous job in his whole career. The effects he has on the Zonoids in this are, you know, outstanding in some places. But I didn't realise his actual name is Screaming Mad George.
Right. Yeah, he had it legally changed, I believe. Yeah.
like his first name is Screaming.
Yeah.
You know? Which I thought was brilliant, but you can tell that, like we've said this a number of times in a lot of other movies, when you get special effects artists who go to direct.
Yeah, they're not the best. I mean, they're not writers, they're not directors.
Yeah.
They work on practical effects, but they've got a budget and they've got a story that they want to tell.
Yeah.
And so they do the best they can. And so you could say that, yeah, this whole film is just a showcase for the practical effects that they can work on.
Yeah, you could. But it's also like we said, it's just the Americanization of, you know, a Japanese anime. They're wanting to make it their own thing. Like with Sean Barker, you know, like he's your atypical American star. Like if you've ever watched Dragon Ball Evolution, you'll know what I'm fucking talking about with that shit. And he follows Max and Mizuki to the crime scene. And like, who fucking does that? Like, who goes, oh, I'm going to take the daughter of the victim to the crime scene so she can look at the body?
Right. Well, we need the story to happen.
Yeah,
we need to figure out how we get Sean to the Guyver unit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he has to go there. And as he's there and he's staring and stalking her, he finds the box, the lunch box that the doctor had put the Guyver unit in, and he takes it and fucks off.
Of course he does.
I love the fact that Lisker and his buddies turn up to investigate this scene. And there's one point where Stryker... MC Stryker, played by Jimmy Walker, picks up the Pat lunchbox and goes, "Hey man, there's nothing here," and just kind of throws it. I'm like, should have looked before you left the first time.
One of the great sequences where they've been told, like, you need to look for this Guyver unit, and they turn to them and they're like, we don't even know what it looks like. And he's like, well, bring me everything you find. It's like, you can just imagine what they're gonna, like, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? But anyway, so Sean ends up going back to Mizuki's place, and he spots Max hiding behind the door in the mirror.
Oh god, yeah, because Max has gone back to her apartment to question her.
And so, yeah, Sean's just like, oh, you've got somebody else. Okay, I'll go now. So he goes back, get on his moped, and it won't even start. And so then one of the thugs just steps out of the nowhere. It's just like, hey, what's wrong with your bike? And of course Sean pushes him away.
Yeah, because that's what you do when you're in a dark alleyway and somebody comes up and asks you if you want help.
Yeah.
You violently push them away.
But then that just spawns all the other thugs out of nowhere. And you get the big burly one that comes over and he kicks the bike over and he's like, oh, won't start.
This fucking sequence is so bad. Like everything coming up to this point was slowly declining, and then when you watch this group come out, I couldn't take it serious. You know, no. I was really wanting to. Like I said, in my mindset, I'm like, this is very Power Rangers, so I know I'm supposed to take it tongue in cheek. But I thought I would only have to do that with the alien suit stuff.
No, this is worse.
Yeah, when you have just live action, human characters trying to act. And they have the whole fight sequence.
They kick him and they punch him and they throw Sean around. Eventually he lands on his back and the Guyver unit falls out of his backpack. And then he turns over and they kick him and smack him again and he face palms right into the Guyver unit.
And this is where it goes, oh, a host!
I'm going to say the Guyver unit itself, I think it looks really cool. It's like part metal, part organic.
Oh, yeah.
And the way it attaches itself to him, it's pretty frightening.
It's there are a lot of thing-like little moments, where bits just kind of go, whoa, ow, and you're like, whoa, and those quick shots are really, really cool. And once he changes, immediately my mind went to like big bad Beetleborgs, VR Troopers, Power Rangers, Masked Rider, just that early 90s stuff of sticking an American into a martial arts suit and then expecting them to be able to pull off fights, and he just has this fight with the gang and throws them all over the place, and then you get the nunchuck knife scene.
He just waves his nunchucks around and then throws them over his shoulder. It's like, oh. So he grabs a knife, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get you now, and he chucks a knife from hand to hand to hand to hand and then drops the knife too. But
Sean doesn't realise that he's in this suit, and it's not until he sees his reflection that he goes, right, okay, no, I don't want any more of this. And what was it? He screams?
Yeah, and the whole Guyver unit retreats into the back of his neck.
Yeah. like the Guyver unit is alive?
I guess. I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's at least part... I mean, it's part organic, so...
Yeah, because I was trying to work it out, without massively watching, all of the whole history of the manga series and reading all 32 volumes. I was just like, okay, so this unit attaches itself, becomes one with its host. We also cut back to the Cronus Corporation, and Fulton is still really mad that he hasn't got his this unit. And I love this bit where he's eating dinner and he has the napkin in his jacket and he gets up to talk to Lisker and he doesn't remove the napkin. That's how much I was paying attention to this movie. This whole scene, he doesn't remove it. So all I could think were the two actors were kind of just how many times did they film this scene and how many times did the guy go, fuck it, I'm not pulling that out anymore. But once Lisker leaves, he's still got the toaster that he got from the box at the beginning, and it's got toast in it.
Burnt toast. No wonder the toaster was thrown out.
What the fuck is that got to do with the fucking movie?
It's funny.
Colonel Castle works with Max Reed, and like I said, you have to remember Max Reed is a CIA agent, but he doesn't act like it at all. He has no badge, he looks like a burnt out cop, and literally he just has a gun. But we've got Colonel Castle, played by Willard E. Pugh, who I only really remember as the mayor from RoboCop 2. He was great in that. But he kind of plays the police commissioner in this movie where he doesn't fully believe Max. And, and he's warning him, you carry on like this, I'll be, taking your job from you. Max is like, I'll get the evidence. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. I want to see some suit fighting. But then again, I really don't, because it's terrible.
Well, we're about to get into the next big fight sequence anyway.
Oh, God.
Because Stryker sent his men to go up and capture Miski.
Yeah.
Because they figured out that that the scientist from the beginning had a daughter, and maybe she knows where the Guyver unit is.
Yeah.
So we had this awkward sequence where Sean came up to see Miski, and Miski's like, "Oh, I've got this lady coming over," and so Sean's like, "Oh, I'll go get some dinner, and I'll come back."
And the goons just kind of pass him outside the apartment, and they walk in.
Yeah.
And then it cuts. Oh, fuck. I gotta bring it up now. The fucking cuts.
The transitions.
The movie. Like, the first time it happened, I'm like, oh, that was...
It's like that slash across the screen, but it also has that same music riff every time it does it.
Every time. And, oh.
I said they stopped doing it about halfway through the film, but...
They did, and I kind of missed it.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for it to happen
I
again.
wanted it to come back. So we get this cut where Sean is walking back to the apartment and the goons are walking out carrying a rug. And now you know the goons are evil and you know that Miski is in that rug. But Sean has to go upstairs and find her friend dead on the floor with lots of blood all over her. Which I was like, wow, they really fucked her up.
Right.
You know, they like, you know.
It's the bloodiest scene in the film, really.
Yeah. And then he rushes back down to the van and Max Reed turns up. And, like, the two of them meet at the back of the van while the goons are trying to put Miski in the back of the van. And at the same time, we're following Lisker and Weber, his girlfriend, who I remember as the Klingon from Star Trek Final Frontier. You know, they're in the front of the van talking about how they want to move to Brazil and shop. I'm like, what the fuck, movie? Really? You've got shit going on. Shit, you know, because the moment Sean pulls out 2 bottles and smashes the goons on the back of the head to save Miski, and Max pulls out his gun, Lisker comes around the corner with his gun, and they just have a bit of a standoff for about 2 seconds until Sean, Miski, and Max all run away. Run away! You've got a gun on them! You can turn into a fucking alien creature!
Well, as we find out, he can't. He doesn't know exactly how to trigger it.
Oh, no,
and
not
get
Sean.
Chased.
I mean Lisker and Weber and fucking Stryker and the one that makes dog noises.
They're still trying to conceal the fact that they're monsters at this point.
But when they're chasing them down the alleyway, Stryker just goes, oh, fuck this, and changes into a creature anyway.
No, it's the other guy who is... Oh, yeah,
it's Stryker.
Who changes and just goes... Yeah, but you can see the other guy's just like, oh, he's transformed. Oh, okay, we're going to have to make sure nobody sees this. And so he chases them and he jumps over a wall and he lands right in front of Linnea Quigley. Who just screams and screams and screams. I mean, she's the Scream Queen.
She is Scream Queen.
Playing a Scream Queen.
Yeah.
And they both just end up screaming at each other until the director comes over and goes, right, no, you missed your cue. You're not supposed to be scared of her. You're supposed to be the monster, so get back over the wall and do it again. And then you see this guy in like a shark suit step over and like,
That's not me.
That wasn't me. And that's the end of that scene. So we're back into the chase. Mark Hamill's getting thrown around.
Yeah.
Miski's been captured again by the Zoonoids, and Sean needs to transform, but he can't. So he gets his ass handed to him.
Yep.
Quite a few times. Gets thrown around. But then things look like, looks like the Zoonoids are going to get away, and so Sean gets angry, clenches his fists, and transforms back into the Guyver. And then we have about a 10, 15-minute long fight sequence of...
I wouldn't call it a fight sequence.
Of Max and Miski trying to escape, and Sean trying to beat up the Zoonoids. And it's lots of back and forths and lots of quick cuts of punches and kicks and monsters flying.
It's my problem I have sometimes with practical effects. Like, I really do love practical effects. You know, the time and effort it takes to put into them, the way it looks on camera. When you have the right light and the right camera and the right angle on a suit, it kind of does make it look bad. For me, because I can tell it's a suit. You know, I can tell that it's not skin, it's rubber or latex or whatever it is, you know, and I can tell the eyes are artificial because there's no life behind them. The light is kind of bouncing off them. You know, with this movie, like I said, Screaming Mad George is a fucking outstanding special effects artist. And the Zoonoids, they look great, but you can't fight in them. ever. I've seen enough Power Rangers fucking episodes to know that you can't properly have a proper fight sequence where the impacts look like they really hit and the damage feels like damage. It is literally just two guys in suits who can't see each other. Like, I've watched a lot of Godzilla movies, you know, with suits like that, so I know it doesn't work. And I kept, while I was watching the fight sequence between Liska versus Guyver, you know, everything's just been a comedy routine up to this point and not been outstanding, so that when the fight sequence come, I'm in a mood, you know, and I'm like, I just want something good or brilliant to happen. You know, it was really good when he got the blades coming out of his arms.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's what he uses to kill one of the Zoonoids.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's also killed Misky at the same time.
Yeah.
She's just playing dead, which causes Sean to collapse. Like, oh no, I've accidentally killed the love of my life. And so then the Zoonoids grab him, pin him down, and rip his balls off.
Yeah, bowl.
Yeah,
it's a bowl. You actually think there's three, because it kind of looks like at one point the camera focuses on a side one.
Yeah,
like he's looking through that one. But yeah, he pulls the ball out, and like I'm watching his chest. His chest was opening, and I'm like, is that his soul? You know, what's that light coming out? But nothing. Liska tears out the ball, and you know, the body melts, and Misky is massively upset. Max is captured, and they're heading back to the Kronos Corporation. And when they get there, Fulton is staring seductively and quite weirdly at Misky while she's unconscious, licking his lips.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
It was dodgy as fuck. Like,
but she eventually comes around, and he explains to her the whole history of the Zoonoids, the Kronos Corporation, his relationship with her dad, and how she can obviously trust him because he knew her dad.
Yeah, bullshit.
Right. We have some atrocious acting from her, which is hilarious.
Oh, she was fucking just got worse and worse and worse for the movie.
Yeah, she did. That's what I liked.
It was this corridor sequence where Fulton's like, look at all these creatures that we have made. Mythical creatures throughout time. Because obviously the Zoonoids have been here for thousands of years. Mythical creatures are what we are. So if you saw Minotaurs or Cyclops or whatever, that was probably a Zoonoid. And I swear Misky's like so overwhelmed by this information. She goes, ah! And she runs down this corridor. And Fulton laughs and just follows slowly behind her. And the two of them meet at the next door.
Right.
Which has the Star Trek sound effects.
Of course. But now we get introduced to Jeffrey Combs.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Not playing Dr. West this time, but Dr. East. And they have the Guyver unit, and they're doing tests on it and trying to figure out how it works, what if it's been damaged, if they can recreate it.
There's like a whole nerdgasm when they're explaining about how this unit, this Battle Booster Armor unit, is kind of regenerating itself and making its own thing.
It's growing.
Yeah. But Misky sees that Max is being held captive as well, and realizes that the only way that she can do anything is if she gets hold of the orb. So she knees Fulton right in the balls. And the scientists kind of stand there like not knowing what to do, and she steals the orb and holds the orb over like a what?
I was going to say, my mind just went, it's a giant shredder.
Yeah, like, it doesn't show you what's in there. I didn't know if, like, they were, like, millions of miles, like, up in the air, and that if she dropped it, it would fall and smash on the ground, or if there was acid, or, like, it's literally, she holds it over and everyone goes, no, whoa, don't drop it in there. I love the fact that when Jeffrey Combs turns into a Zoonoid, he keeps his glasses on.
Right, yeah.
Like, he's a short-sighted Zoonoid. But they end up, you know, Stryker, because for some reason Stryker is... Like, Lisker's Zoonoid looks amazing. His facial expression, facial movements, you know, Lisker's looks amazing. But Stryker is always putting himself out there. You know, he's always doing something fucking stupid. Like, we had the film set stuff. You know, we had him trying to fight Sean. You know, and then this bit he goes, I'll get the eyeball, the orb, and he goes to steal it, and it ends up flying into Jeffrey Combs' mouth.
It's a great moment. He starts spazzing out on the floor.
Yeah!
Get it out! Get it out! Oh, it's growing! It's growing! Oh!
Sean kind of bursts out of the belly
Right.
of Dr. East. And, you know, like...
And now another fight ensues.
I want to sound happy about this. But when you mix the fight sequence between Lisker and Guyver,
Right.
you know, along with the Looney Tunes fucking action sequences between Max and Miski as they're being chased by Zonoid stuff, it is all over the fucking
This
place.
film is tonally deaf.
Yeah, but the thing is, I wanted to really enjoy myself, but I also felt like it was just an insult. You know, like you've never watched Dragon Ball Evolution, dude. You know,
No.
and but this is up there with those kind of, hey, we're gonna take this really great anime with all these awesome sequences that has built this massive, huge fan base behind people, and we're gonna make a mockery of it. You know, we're gonna have Mark Hamill being chased back and forth by this creature, you know, and have him fall on the floor, and then Miski bonks it on the head with a microscope.
I love that. Sounds like a statue collapsing.
Yeah, timber! You know, we're going to get one of our big, massive zoonoids to try to climb up a really small ladder, and he gets stuck. So his mate has to try and pull him out, you know? But that's all comedy.
Yeah,
you know,
it
but then
is.
when you're cutting back to the fight sequence is actually trying to take itself a bit seriously, to the point where, you know, he gets his blade arms out and he just fucking fucks up Lisker. But then we come to, I would say, probably the best transformation. For me, the best transformation in the whole movie is where Max has been mutated with a zoonoid.
Yes, they almost escape, and then Max just collapses, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then you see his ankle or his foot, it looks like it breaks, and
Yeah.
then his other leg, and then he starts to distort, and then his head elongates as it comes out of his body.
Like, there's life in his eyes. Like, I really look at Max's eyes when he's changing and his mouth is all like that and his body's elongating. Like, he's unhappy. He's sad. He wants to be killed. You know, he doesn't want to be this. And that bit was awesome.
I did like the final creature design as well. It
Yes.
was sort of obviously like a bug.
Yes.
I don't know if it was like a cricket or like a flea or
Or
I don't know,
dragon.
or a dragon. It was really bizarre.
Well, he's
but,
the zoonoid king, isn't he? He's the zoonoid lord.
No, I'm talking about Max's.
Oh, Max is.
transformation.
Oh, yeah. Very, very buggish. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the zoonoid lord Fulton, after Max has been taken out, tries to convince the Guyver just to trade. You know, give me the suit, and you know, I'll let you all go. It's like bullshit. You've been killing people since the fucking start of this movie. I don't trust you.
He's got to have his villainous moment.
Yeah, I know.
Pretend to give them a chance.
But when he mutates into like this, like I said, the big dragon type fucking thing, like he's huge. Well, I mean, he's huge in perspective of a model basis, you know. But it does look really good, and I suppose that's what upsets me about this movie is that, like, Screaming Mad George and all of his work and the practical effects looks really, really amazing, but it's the rest of the fucking terrible shit you gotta go through to get to that, to make you go, oh, yeah. You know, and I love the bit where he, like, stabs him in the eye.
Yeah.
You know, and he rides him at one point, which I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. The only bit of this that I really didn't like, because I love the creature here, I think it's fantastic, but when it's swiping for him, it's just like the overlarge hands just slowly trying to swipe for him. I was just like, oh no.
That's what I mean. It's
for me, that just added into the charm of the naffness that is most of the film.
just seeing this creature trying to defeat the
it pretty
suit.
much does. It pretty much has Guyver pinned down.
Yeah.
And then this giant, like, handed tongue comes out of his mouth and starts pulling at the ball, you know, the orb of the Guyver suit. And that's when the Guyver suit's chest piece opens up. Kind of like what it was trying to do earlier in the film, I guess.
Yeah.
And then just a huge burst of energy fires out, sends the creature flying into the other room, and then it fucking explodes.
Chest beam Omega Blast! Pow!
Yeah, I'm just like, oh.
Really?
Yeah,
like that bit was pretty cool. Like super blast beam.
Yeah, no, but it just felt like it came out of nowhere. It's just you didn't really know he even had that ability, and then he just uses it, and it's like one shot, dead boss.
That's the main thing about these anime things. Like as they progress, the heroes get more and more powerful with more and more shit that you didn't even know that they had. I mean, like I said,
but it just makes me go, why don't you just use that beam blaster all the time? Just like blast and blast and blast.
And then he decides that he's going to go home, and Mizuki, like she doesn't like the suit at first. She's a bit scared of it, but then she realizes that it's still him underneath.
Yeah.
And then when they bugger off, the mayor from RoboCop 2 turns out to be evil, and Stryker's revealed to be alive, and they're going to have to come up with a new plan to get the suit of armor. And then Stryker goes dynamite, and the movie ends.
Yay!
If you didn't realize, the actor playing fucking, Stryker, his main line in a TV series back in the 80s was dynamite. I didn't realize that. I didn't wait yet.
I got a job for you. Dynamite.
Well, Ian, what's your favourite scenes from Guyver?
Man, I have a few. As terrible as this movie was, I had a few. Lisker mutating into basically the alpha Zoanoid. I know he's a step down from the Zoanoid Lord that comes, but like they put a lot of kind of practical effects on his face, which really gives some proper emotion, a bit more emotion than everybody else. I kind of liked it, and I kind of didn't. Was the crap rap.
That Guyvin jiving thing, boy.
I've been looking high, I've been looking low for the Guyvin jiving thing to show. Well, let me just tell you one thing. I'm gonna boot that thing with the Guyvin in. I'm going to make you crawl and gonna make you sing, cause I want that Guyvin jiving thing, boy.
I can't believe you really remembered the words, man. All I wrote was crap rap.
I've seen this film a few times.
The synchronized kung fu and the evil laughter from the gang that tries to mug or beat up Sean in the alleyway, it was fucking ridiculous. Like,
yeah. I mean, there was one part in the film, I didn't even realise it at first, but when the guy's got the gun on the Guyver and he shoots him.
Yeah.
And then the Guyver grabs the barrel of the gun and bends it.
Yeah.
I was like, that don't make any sense. That means the guy holding the gun would have been strong enough to have bent it himself. Because otherwise it would have just bent and snapped his wrist or tore his arm off.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I can only go like that.
But I love it still.
I mean, it's like the nunchuck and the knife sequence. It's like, were you trying to make this movie a comedy? Because that's where we're going with this movie. I'm watching him swing those nunchucks around. I'm like, he's going to hit himself in the balls. He's going to hit himself in the balls. Nope, he throws it behind him. That's even worse than hitting himself in the balls. Oh, he's pulled out a knife. He's going to stab himself in the balls. Oh, he's thrown the knife. This guy is completely inept. I did really like the kind of relationship between Lisker and Weber, where they're wanting to go to Brazil. I actually much preferred that relationship over the Sean Mizuki kind of love stuff that we were supposed to be getting. Mainly because Mizuki was such a useless waste of my time. She wasn't really even the damsel in distress. And then when she was, I just wanted to leave her there. I didn't care for her, and it was made even kind of worse when you're trying to bring Mark Hamill into it, and I don't even know what his character was like. I know he says he's a CIA agent, but I don't ever see CIA agents dressing like that. He should have just been a cop investigating it, and then we could have just gone from there. But I am the Guyver. When he turns into that, you just know shit's going down. You just know, and it's terrible, but I'm a big fan of classic Godzilla movies and Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fights, so I did get into it, and then when he gets defeated and they take off his head and take it, I'm like, oh sweet, we're building up to the big ending now. Dr. East, when he turns up, oh man, there's like Jeffrey Combs, he's awesome. Like, he should just do more movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, like when he turned up, I kind of forgot how stupid the movie was. You know, because, like, I don't know, like, he should have just been in it from the beginning, and we could have just kept that level of kind of stupidity, because he's so good. He's so good. Like, his whole excitement about the unit being built, and then going into the fact that he swallows the orb and you know, the Guyver has to burst out. It's fucking awesome. It's growing inside me. Ah! You know, the final fight sequences are all right. You know, like I said, if you're a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Godzilla fan, but it is just a fucking pain to go through, especially when you're watching Mark Hamill and Mizuki run around being chased by this weird creature. I mean, when Max mutates into the cockroach type thing, the bug-like thing, that's awesome. I love the effects for that, and love the fact that they were like, there's a bit of humanity still in there. I love the fact that he stakes the big Zoanoid Lord in the eye, you know, and then super chest beam Omega to the face. Boom! Yeah, love it.
You liked almost the entire film by the sounds of it.
Yeah, just not a lot of the talking.
This film, I adore it. All of the scenes I really enjoy. The campiness, the fun factor. I'd tell you the scene that made me laugh or cringe the most in the rewatch was when Dr. East's has got the thing inside him, and when the blade pops up out of his chest, it plays the Jaws music as it slices him open. It's just like, it's so bad. it's hilarious. It really is.
Yeah.
I loved him jumping into the film set, just a quick cameo from Linnea Quigley. Just like, yay, Linnea Quigley.
Yeah.
And I also just admit, I'll never forget the first time watching the film and seeing the big creature emerge itself from the shadows at the end, and just when you get the idea of the scale of this thing as well.
Yeah.
And then, you get the naff hand swiping, but...
I don't really understand how he fit in that really small human suit.
Zoonoids, man.
Yeah, I know. Like, does the other Zoonoid mutate back?
Yeah.
Like, do you think he does?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, it's like the Guyver suit. Like, how does the whole thing fit into the back of his neck? Like, it fits. And it's alien tech, I suppose.
Tech, yeah.
Well, Iain, do you recommend Guyver?
I don't want to, and I want to. You know, there's something here for people to watch, basically. You know, like I said, I've seen a lot of really, really bad movies, and this isn't the worst, but there are moments. There are moments that you'll watch that you'll be like, no, I've got to turn this off. I can't watch it. You know, like if you're a fan of the actual anime, you know, or you own all 32 volumes of the actual manga. Maybe you actually own the movie on fucking DVD as well. It in certain sequences, it just makes a mockery of everything that, you know, it's trying to use as a lore. It's kind of the same attitude we have towards maybe Resident Evil movies. You know, like they looked at the source material and went, oh, we'll take that and we'll take that and we'll take that. You know, Screaming Mad George, yeah, he does a lot of good work with the special effects. And like I said, if you're a fan of Power Rangers, or the old classic Godzilla movies, you know, or maybe you just want to just have a laugh and you really love Jeffrey Combs, you know, yes, watch it. But be warned, it's as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution. I put it up there with Street Fighter the movie. I'm not even going to go see Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson to even work out if it's worse or better than the Guyver. But, you know, it's not for everybody.
No. I mean, this has been a guilty pleasure of mine for as long as I can remember, since discovering it on VHS, and I still enjoy it today. Yes, the acting is hammy and very over the top, with typical cliched moments and jokes that are straight up awful, mixed with some tedious, cartoony music and action, and I've seldom seen worse. It is on a level, though, for me, that it is so bad that it's good. Yeah. And I'm always laughing and I'm having a good time watching it all unfold. I love all the monster creations, and for me, they were still incredibly convincing at times. Screaming Mad George with Steve Wang was an awesome combination, and they really get to showcase their effects work here. I also love Brian Yuzna, his flair and his input as a producer, and the wackiness that often follows, and it's always great to see Jeffrey Combs turn up in anything, no matter the size of his role. I mean, by this point in the review, you probably made your mind up about watching it or not. And I understand that the tonally deaf, campy monster flick isn't for everybody. If you want practical effects and enjoy bad movies and need a laugh, give this a go. Yeah. It's quite a lot of fun.
But if you don't watch it.
Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.